All right, hello students. Good afternoon. It is exactly 5:35 p.m. on my clock. That means we have to start our lesson for this session. Okay? So good afternoon. Students, how are you? Hello?
Kira ma'am.
Okay, very good. Sige.
Kira ma'am.
Sige, very good. Who would like to lead the prayer for this afternoon? Sige daw. Who wants to volunteer? Sinong gusto mag-pray po? Anyone? Sige, let's have student Zuril na lang. Sige, student Zuril. Can you please lead the prayer po, Student Zuril? Andito pa ba si student? Sige, go ahead, student.
Kira, nag-CR ko kadali.
Okay, sige. Alright, sige, let's have ano na lang, student Rolando. Hello, student. Good afternoon. Andito pa
Ganun
ba?
ma'am.
Sige, go ahead, student Rolando. Please lead the prayer po.
And Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, may hapon sa mga Lord. And the Lord na guide mo sa mga panglako, Lord. Also sa mga pamilya, Lord. Ta sa protect, Lord, sa mga mong pangbuhat, Lord, kadlaw, Lord. Lord, na i-guide me, Lord, sa mga klase, Lord. O gitagay among maestro, mayong panglawas, Lord. At mo lang, Lord. Amen. Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Ano ba, ma'am?
All right, thank you very much, students. So again, hello students and welcome back to our class. This is 324 Fire Technology and Arts and Investigation, and this is Miss Malaya teaching. So how are you everybody? Kumusta ang long weekend natin? How are you? Kumusta man?
Okay na po ma'am.
Okay
Kira ma'am.
lang. Okay, sige, very good, no? So,
Ma'am.
yes, okay, very good, no? I'm happy that everybody is um okay, no? And feeling well, no? Sige. So, before I start my class, can I have hearts sa ating in-call messages para malaman ni teacher that you are ready? Yes, Gerson, may katanungan ka po ba? Okay, I guess wala. Sige, padayon ang ating hearts. Can you send hearts sa ating in-call messages para malaman ni teacher that you are ready to listen for this evening? Sige. Very good. Thank you very much everybody for your feedback. Now, we were not able to meet last Friday kasi nga it was a holiday. So, wala tayo nagklase. So, for this time, we will discuss two topics, no, two presentations, the part 3 and the part 4. So, without further ado, let me share my first slide. Okay, so this is week 6 to 7, part 3. So, we have here the miscellaneous hazards, no? Ano ba itong mga miscellaneous hazards, no? We have some of it, no? We have the parks or the sparks, okay? Or the live sparks from chimneys, refuse or fused burners, stocks and other similar sources must be given priority consideration during periods of low humidity and high wind velocity. No, so it should have special precautionary measures kasi nga there are some risk, no, nga mag-create ni siya og fire, no? So we also have here the mechanical devices. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Zurel. Okay, we also have here the mechanical devices. Usually, mga machine, ang good example, ani, no? So, whereas friction is created or or friction is present. Now, we have here the acids and other chemicals, no? Although, dili ni siya maka-flammable, no? And it will not support the combustion, they are strong acids, no? That could be a hazard, no? To fire. So we also have here the coal tar derivatives, no? These are usually, no, usually crude or crudo, okay? And it also dyes or medicines and explosives, no, are manufactured from these coal tar products. So we also have here the effects of the sun. So usually the sun, when in a certain temperature, will create fire because of the temperature na sobra kainit. And usually, some forest fires will occur if naay mga mabiling nga glasses or kanang mga, what's this, mirrors. Kasi nga, if this mirror will be reflected directly to the sun and then to a specific uh, fuel nga uga inside the forest, no, it could create fire, no? So the sun, no, is the sun's rays or ang iyang init, no, can create fire. Okay? So if ever na, di ba katong high school mo or elementary mo, nakatry mo experiment anang magnifying glass na inyuhang itutok sa sun and then it could ignite, no, sa iyahang reflection or sa iyahang katong iyahang curved lens, no, tungod sa iyahang lens, no. So makasunog jud na siya. Okay? So we have here sa what we called as the pre-fire plan. Okay, so what is a pre-fire plan? So it is an advanced and organized planning of possible firefighting operations in a particular building or groups of buildings. So usually, nagki-create tayo ng pre-fire plan kapag kailangan natin or need natin ito siya. It's a need, no? Di niya siya ingon nga buhat-buhat lang. It's a compulsory measurement so that if there are fires in a specific building, no, kabalo taon saan pagsugpo sa kalayo. So, usually the fire departments, no, they are organized to protect lives and properties from fire within the areas of services. So, it's not just about suppressing fire or firefighting, but also having to serve such emergencies, no, kung kinahanglan sa tao ang emergency. So, common sense dictates the firefighters, particularly the senior officers, should have to analyze the problems encountered intelligently to perform an efficient and effective job. So, usually, ang magplano gud sa ato ang fire plan or pre-fire planning, no, kumbaga wala pa na or wala pa na kasunog ang ato ang firehead department. So, um, fire defenses should be organized to prevent as many fires as possible from occurring, while at the same time to be prepared to combat in an organized way those that cannot be prevented. So, if we have a pre-fire plan, no, if we encounter such emergencies, no, that fires are occurring, then we'll be able to defend the occupants of the building and will be able to easily suppress the fire kasi nga meron tayong plano. Okay? And those plans should be subjected to um, implementation. So, kinakailangan sundin natin yung plano natin. Okay? So, we also have here, no, the purpose and requirements for pre-fire plans. So, plans are prepared to explain procedures and geographically important information required during fire suppression operations. So, usually good if maitukod nga building, no, the building pre-fire plans are carried on the assistance fire chief vehicle on each first run, pumper, or fire engine. Usually, pag naitukod nga building, di ba, it will not be approved to continue to be built kung wala business permit, business license, apil na dira ang katong uh, gina-approve na certificate ni bumbero or ni firefighter. So, or ni fire department. So, kinakailangan na tayo blueprint sa building so that we'll be able to know where are the entrance, exits, fire exits, emergency exits, where are the windows located, is there any attic, is there any doors available, no? So, kay para, if there are fire in a specific building, natay blueprint, no? Mas madali ta makabalog. Asa ta pwede mo entrance, asa ta pwede mo exit. Okay? Where are the stairs located, no? Ganyan yan siya. So, yung mga blueprints natin on those specific buildings, no, nandiyan yan siya, available yan siya sa fire department natin. Kasi nga, paano malalaman ni firefighter kung saan siya dadaan inside the building if wala naman siyang kaalaman kung ano yung construction ng building. Diba? So, copies of each pre-fire plan or the building and aircraft, no? Yes, are maintained in the Fire Alarm Communications Center. So, yung sa office ng fire department, nandoon yung mga blueprints ng mga buildings, no? And then, kinakailangan nagkakaroon sila ng pre-fire plan on each buildings. Kasi nga, if nasunog, for example, ang G-Mall, asa man ang exit, asa ang entrance, asa ang iyahang emergency exit, fire exit, asa ang mga windows, asa ang mga plugs na kabutang, na ba yung mga fire hydrants, na ba sila yung fire alarm, no? So dili man pareha ang NCCC ug ang GMOL. So kailangan different pre-fire plan naman ang gagawin for NCCC. No, kasi nga they're different buildings or two different buildings with different construction of the building. Okay? So, yes, building in aircraft, no, dili lang pod masunog ang tanan buildings but also pwede pod masunog ang unsa man ang aircraft? Ang mga sasakyang panghimpapawid. Okay? So, kailangan may plano din tayo kasi nga if some aircraft will be on fire, no, kailangan alam natin kung ano ang dapat nating gawin. So later on, we will discuss those. So, the first thing to be considered in a pre-fire planning is a specific risk that might be involved for each physical situation such as yung streets, roads, yung mga alleys, no, kanang mga alleys ba kay gagmay nga dalan, mga iskinita, no, that's alleys between the fire station and the scene of the fire kasi kailangan yung malaman kung saan yung dapat yung daanan to avoid traffic congestion. Okay? So, kailangan alam nyo yung mga shortcuts, no? Papuntang location kung saan yung sunog. No? Alam naman doon kayo dumaan sa grabing congested na daan. So, ano nangyari? Hindi nyo na na-apolo yung fire kasi nga, naugdaw na niya. No? So, kailangan, we must act swiftly or pas-pas. Location of the water supply and volume of pressure available. So, if ever that specific building na siya fire hydrant, dapat kabalo taas ang fire hydrant. No? So we will be able to use that one. So, kinakailangan, if na fire hydrant ang specific nga building, magdala kita atong mga tools nato and mechanisms on to connect the fire hose to the fire hydrant. Okay? So, also your exposure is also be given consideration. Kasi nga, kinakailangan, if ever yung mga buildings dikit-dikit, no, we must act swiftly. Paspas kasakto. Kasi nga, kapag may exposure, di ba, delikado, no? So, mas madali makatabok ang kalayo sa pikas. So, we also have here to recognize the specific problems involved in a fire occurs in a given building. Ano yung sinimulan or saan nagsimula ang sunog. The questions of availability of equipment. May sakto ba tayo na fire trucks? Na ba tayo sakto nga ekwipo? The availability of manpower. Sakto ba ato ang katawhan, no? Koresponda sa sunog sa GMOL, for example, dako kay sunog sa GMOL, unya atong ipa-respond dito, duha ra ka firefighter. So, the one who will allocate the manpower of the fire department is the fire department head. So, he'll be able to know kung may kakulangan ba sa kanyang mga manpower or sa kanyang mga membro sa firefighting department or is it sakto na, no? So, yun yung kanyang dapat gawin, no? We have here basic information contained in a pre-fire plan. So, data on life hazards in each building, including where people sleep, the location of doors, windows, stairways, and fire escapes, an outline of the most logical means to rescue. So, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo that we need to be able to know or incorporate those basic informations, no? Alangan, wala ta kabalo asa ang portahan nga pwede maagian. No? Dapat na siya sa ato ang pre-fire plan. That's basically needed, no, sa usa ka fire department, firefighting department, so that if there is a fire in a specific building, it will be used easily to enter the building to suppress the fire. So, information on interior and exterior exposures and how best to protect them, high-valued storage, the placement of fire streams, and similar factors. Distance involved should be indicated. So, yung exterior and interior and exterior exposures, ibig sabihin, sa loob ng building na ay mga interior exposures, for example, first room, second room, third room. So, nagsimula ang ating kalayo or ang sunog sa first room. So, ano ba yung pwede na masunog inside the specific building sa room, second, at saka third, at saka fourth? Okay? Ano na dapat ang, how can we protect them? So, maybe that specific building, no, naa siya katong ginatawag nato nga katong fire resistant siya for how many hours, no? So that if ever na fire resistant siya ng mga 2 hours, no? So, basig 30 minutes, maabot na itong firefighters, maapula pa nila ang sunog dayon. And then, dili na mo pa dayon ang sunog. How about exterior exposures? We'll try to see if naabay mga silingan nga buildings around the area. So, we'll try to protect those specific buildings. So, if ever di na dyan makaya o palong ang kalayo sa katong specific nga burning building. And also, we need to have, no, ano yung mga nasa loob. Okay? If may mga storage ba, di ba? Katong mga cabinets nila, nga fire resistant siya for how many hours, di ba? I believe na discuss niyo na siya sa inyong stress security, no? And we also have here the consideration of special building or facility hazards such as the location of flammable stores, hazardous operations in the area most likely to be the origin of fire. Usually, basic information sa usa ka building, ibutang dito nga, this building occupies restaurants. So, ibig sabihin, kani nga building na mga restaurants. So, when there are restaurants or there are food hall or food stalls, nagagamit sila og kalayo to cook food. No? Necessarily na yung mga gas or nagagamit sila electrical nga mga pangluto, no? Sige na kailangan alam ng fire department niya, naka-indicate yan sa kanilang business plan or sa building plan, no? So, as well as dapat alam yan ni firefighter, ni fire department. So, the allocation of hydrants and other water sources indicating the amount of water available and pressure, also the necessary lengths of the ladders and their proper placement to reach the required area. So, kinakailangan alam din po natin no sa fire department no yung saan yung nakalagay ang mga fire hydrants in the area of the specific na building kung meron man. Kinakailangan meron tayong makagamitan yung tools na discuss natin from the very beginning no tong first part, and as well as if ever mahutdan ang fire truck og water alangan naman mo yung pakag huy posa dira kalayo kadali lang kay mo kuha sa og tubig sa motor pool dili jud no. So kinahanglan we should be able to allocate the water properly, no? And also, kung may mga fire hydrants, dapat natin makagamitan para maabli na tong fire hydrants. And the fire hydrants are automatically or directly connected to the water filling stations, no? For example, sa water district, no? Diretso na sila connect ana. So, di mag-goal kay dili dahil na siya mahut ang tubig ana. Or we have also here the best approaches of to the buildings, apparatus that will respond most advantageous hose laying procedures and the placement of streams, the cutting of the utilities, including electric power and gas supply, indicating how and by whom it is to be done. So, if ever na tay sunog na nahitabo, so kato atong giplanuhan sa pre-fire plan, tay for example si Abigail, o sige Abigail, ikaw ang magdala sa hose, or ikaw magtawag sa hose, sige, si Christian, ikaw manawag sa danay ko nga palungon ng kurente para dili na masunog dayon, dili mo katay ang sunog, no? And dapat naka-assign na siya daan before mo mularga sa fire, no? Automatically assigned mo ana maski wala pay sunog kay para kabalo mo sa yung duty inig-abot sa fire spot, okay? And the effect of the seasonal changes on the accessibility to the building and the response time. So, syempre, seasonal changes, if ever ulan, or kusog kayo ang init, or basig mag-snow ba diha, no? So, we need to have those kanang shortcuts, no? Dapat makabaluta. Para mapagamay atong response time, and then we'll be able to be on time, and if ever we'll be on time, no, natay madaghan ma-save, no, properties and lives, no? Kasi syempre, nadali nato og respond. So, install fire protection or detection system, including locations and procedures for connecting pumpers. So, install extinguishing system. So, for example, kinakailangan natin yung basic information, saan nakalagay ang fire detector, ilang fire detectors, smoke detectors, ilan bang sprinklers ninyo, and all those fire detecting materials and tools, kinakailangan alam yan ng fire department, no? So, we have here naman the types of pre-fire planning. So, we have here the aircraft pre-fire planning. So, kanang mga aeroplano or mga sasakyang panghimpapawid, it's very important to be able to know on how or what is the extremities of that specific aircraft. Kasi nga, kinakailangan natin planuhan ng maigi yan. Kasi an aircraft is very important because of its vast number of possibilities and complex situations. For example, if ever masunog ang some part of the aircraft, no, may big possibility that it will explode. So when it explode, it can create mass destruction. No? Siyempre, dako kay ng aeroplano niya, pabuto na, mabuto. Okay? So, kailangan, kabalo taon sa atong pag-respond, ana. So, when we have the aircraft, okay, if ever man nga naay eroplano, kailangan kabalo taas sa ang pinduton para maabri ang door niya, or kung dili maabri ang door, dapat natay mga katong mga expander nato, katong cutter, no, para maabri to siya. And we'll be able to locate kung asa ang plangka sa iyahang electricities, no? Kay para dili siya dayon mubuto. Okay, di ba? ang aircraft na ay large nga ginatawag na gasoline kay syempre gasoline naman gid ang magkuan ana tubil, no? So kung kanang gasoline, it's a flammable liquid, no? So kung mag-ignite na sa fire, syempre mubuto jud na siya. So we also have here the factors, important factors involved in this planning, no? The location, anong mission, anong climate, at saka anong terrain. We also have here the factors common to most crash situations, no? Yung aircraft, equipment, at saka personnel. Now, the aircraft, so hours of planning may save only a second or two in reaching the scene of the crash. So, for example, ano may plano? Nagplano mo ato niya good for 1 year, Jud, kung na-example ng mga aircraft crash, no? So, weeks of planning may save only a minute in controlling a blaze or removing a victim. But in fire protection, time is precious. So, if ever masunog ang aircraft or nag-plane crash siya na nasunog, kinahanglan we must act swiftly, correctly, nga sakto atong pag-rescue and proper. Kasi nga, if nagtinanga-tanga ka dinhaa, okay, there's a big possibility every second counts. Kasi nga, kanang airplane, no? Pag masunog jud na, mubuto jud na siya, literal. So a split second may save a life. Knowledge of the aircraft may enable a firefighter to save time. Thus, protecting the most important thing is the human life. So, our main goal, no, is not to save the aircraft para magamit pa siya. No. The main purpose of aircraft pre-fire planning is to save the human lives. So, that's our main goal. So, pre-disaster planning naman. So, training and evaluating fire protection personnel is utmost important. In addition, it is the responsibility of the supervisor, subordinate personnel. So, pre-disaster planning. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, hindi lang lahat ng inaapula ng ating mga kabumberohan ay yung mga sunog. Isa rin yon, isa rin ang mga disasters, no, like typhoons or tanawag nato nga mga earthquakes and all those natural or man-made causes. No? Apil na sila ana. So, kinakailangan we must also train them, no, not just to use the nozzle and the uh, firefighting techniques lang, no. Kinakailangan advanced din ang kanilang trainings, so if there are emergencies para magamit nila. So, classification of disasters, we have the domestic disasters. This type of disaster includes all emergencies which the general public and civil emergency crews can handle. So, we have different types of domestic disasters, such as itong na-mention ako, typhoons, earthquakes, no? So, okay. On the next lesson, that was the end of the week 6 to 7 part 3. We will discuss what we call as the different types of domestic emergencies, no, or domestic disasters. This was the end of week 6 to 7 part 3, and okay, let's proceed to the next lesson. So, is everybody still with me? Andyan pa ba kayo? Okay pa ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sige.
Yes,
Very
ma'am.
good. So, makinig lang ha. Okay, so this is Crit 324 Fire Technology and Arson Investigation, part 4 of the week 6 to 7. And again, this is Miss Malaya teaching. So, ito yung mga classification of disasters natin, no? What the types of domestic disasters: explosions involving large areas, floods, earthquakes, hurricanes or typhoons, at saka tornadoes. So, ito naman, these are some of the usually target ng ating mga arsonist or mga kalaban. Military disasters. We must be prepared, or the fire department must be prepared with military disasters kasi nga inside the military disasters nandoon yung mga explosives natin, mga firearms, and all those equipments na panlaban natin sa mga masasamang loob. Usually, ang kalaban natin si PNPA or mga terorista. They will try to retaliate or manimalos na sila. And what means sila manimalos? Setting the military camps with fire. So, yung ating military camp should be properly safe nato na siya, or properly nato na siya nga i-protect. Okay? Kasi nga it will be more likely to be a target by the enemies. Okay? So we have here the fire department responsibilities in times of disaster. Letter A, no, is to survive and help others to survive. Kinakailangan mag-survive muna ang firefighters natin bago sila makatulong sa ibang tao, no, survivors. So to do everything possible to restore normal functions and operations. So if ever there is a fire in a specific building, pero hindi naman masyado napuruhan yung building, i-check pa rin yan ni fire department if it is accessible to be able to continue the work in that specific building, no? So, i-check na yan, no? Para yung mga wirings, no? Kung sakto pa ba ang wirings, wala ba yung mga electrical faults, no? Okay pa ba para makatrabahoan or need sa og repair. So, letter C naman, to furnish aid and support the neighboring communities and installations. If ever the specific municipality, wala sila fire department nga available sa ilaha, kaya napa sa sunod nga munisipyo, the fire department should be able to render and extend their help, no? Para nga, syempre, i-check nila yung mga buildings or mga houses na ipapatayo so that it will be fire resistant or it will be maybe fire proof, no, in a way. Okay? So, we have here the natural cover fire, pre-fire planning, or what we call as the forest fires. No? Usually yun, fire fires or forest fires usually occur sa mga kabukiran, sa mountains, no? And this one, the fire, the natural cover fires or the forest fires, no, is very huge and tremendous and has a tremendous area involving, no, malaking area ang kanyang pwedeng masunog. Bakit? Kasi nga, nasa kabukiran tayo sa forest. Kaya nga, forest ang background ko, di ba? Para mas makarelate tayo. Okay. Usually, it's very difficult to suppress the fire in forest kasi nga wala tay water supply, wala tay fire hydrant kana dito. Alam nga naman ang firefighters nato naa sa nasa sentro ang ilahang fire department. Okay? And then ang supply sa water na po sa sentro, di ba? Wala man kayo tubig sa bukid. Okay? So kung naaman, thankful kung naay mga sapa nga kilid-kilid, so mas madali siya mapalong. Okay? So, usually yun, ang main nga kuan ani niya, kalaban yun kung naatay forest fire is the limited water supply. Okay? Okay, na kailangan, if there are forest fires, no, na din tayo yung mga equipments nga, mga extraordinary, kasi nga, extraordinary man yung forest fires. So, size up. The most important consideration in fighting a natural cover fire is to choose the proper point from which to begin the attack. The selection of this starting point must not be made haphazardly or dili pa kanang pakalit-kalit ang desisyon ninyo. It must be based upon a careful analysis of the present and future conditions of the fire as determined by the fuel conditions, weather conditions, and terrain. So, titingnan nyo yung sunog sa forest, no? Kung ano yung condition, mainit ba masyado? Is it gloomy? Okay? Kung saan siya, asan nagsugod ng fire? Kung sa bukid ba? Sa kuan ba? Sa patag lang? No? Or fuel conditions, kung uga ba kayo ang mga dahon? Or basa-basa ba? Okay? That's size up, no? The selection of starting point. Okay? Now, what is the starting point? Dihaan mo kumbaga, let me just cite an example para mas clear. So, I have watched a movie relating to fire. So, anong ginawa nila? So, they are a fire department concentrating on forest fires during the highest climates, the highest temperature of climates in the western country man to siya ka movie, no? So sa gawas to siya nga kuan nga movie. So anong nangyari is that na sila gibuild or gibuilt nga tower nga taas kaayo that they can oversee 360 window ang tore. And then kita nila ang palibot 360 palibot jud. So naay makaasan sa tore nga magsige siya sa tanaw-tanaw to see kung naabay mga nagsugod nga kalayo. Okay? Or naabay nag-aaso dihaa. So, if there are aso, okay, naay mga aso-aso, ang ginabuhat niya is, manawag rin siya sa katong kauban niya, nga naay sunog diring dapita, nga nga location, so, at tuon dayon, and then, tanawon na lito. So, what happened to the movie is that, naay, for example, katong fire, kay nag-start siya diri sa may left terrain. Okay? So, ang ginawa nila, kay dako pamanggid kayo og pwede malukop nga fuel ang katong diri sa left terrain. Okay nga nag-start ang fire. Ang ginawa nila dili kayo dili kayo siya duol sa katong hapit na sa fire, but medyo maybe mga 5 meters ana to 10 meters ang kalayon, or maybe 20 meters ana, no? So ang ginawa nila, ang sunog diri sa left na padulong sa right, okay, nagbuhat sila another sunog na gikan diri sa right padulong sa left, and then mag-meet sila, magsugat para mapalong ang kalayo. And then katong gisugdan nila sa katong starting point nga sunog, ilahan na to silang bagisa na sila barrier nga gibuhat. It's either nagkalot sila para dili mo mutabok ang kalayo, or na sila mga equipments nga gibuhat. But usually ilahan na nang ginabangagan and ginabutangan nila og chemical nga dili na makalapos ang kalayo. Kay syempre gimo pa nang bububuhan ng tubig, di na gina siya madala og palong kay dako man jud ng mga forest fire. So ang ginawa nila, sige, dili kutob ang barrier, and then ipasugat nila ang fire. So yun yung starting point. So ang ginagawa nila is nagki-careful analysis sila, or inaisip talaga nila ng mabuti kung asa nila pwede ipasugat ang duha ka kalayo so that mapalong siya. Okay, so we have here the steps no in the size up of a natural cover fire, no? See if there are natural barriers nearby to help stop the fire. For example, ang sunog, okay, ilahang ipadulong sa stream or ilahang ipadulong sa sapa. No, pwede man nimo malamano ang sunog sa forest fire. Basta lang magdig lang ka, imong kaluton, and then ipasubay nimo tong sunog sa katong mga fuel. Okay, ingon ana na siya. I just cannot remember the title of the movie, but if I remember, so I'll send it to you, the link or the title of the movie, so that you'll be able to watch it, no, for yourselves, no. So roads, no, syempre if naay mga dalan nga kuan din ha available, dili na gid na masunog kay di man motabok ang kalayo sa dalan. Kanang dalan concrete man na. So flowed fields as well as the burned out areas, no. Kung nasunog na siyang area, dili na occur ang sunog dirag balik, kay nahuman naman na nagsunog niya na ang mga dahon din ha ang fuel, no? And we also have here to locate the hot spots where the fire is burning most intensely and estimate when and where it may jump or throw sparks into a new supply of fuel. So ilalocate nyo yung hot spots ninyo, or asa gito ang pinakakusog kag kalayo. No, kasi nga if kana siya nga part diri sa forest na kusog kay ang kalayo, there will be a big possibility nga ang mga aso manglupad or mo-jump. Kasi nga fuel man na siya. And then ang gina-burn nga fuel ana kay mga dahon, mga sagbot, mga kahoy, okay? So it would create another fuel. Kay moambak siya to another one, no? So sa personal evacuation procedure. So syempre if na forest fires, layo man jud kimos kabihas na ana kay nagud mo bukid. Mag-set up jud mga tents din ha, so that your personals or firefighting manpower should be able to relax if na sila injuries, no, nga madapnan. So if there are forest fires, no, usually gyud dako kay na ginalukop na sunog, and then maglisod na sila kung gamay ra ang manpower. So usually daghan yun na ang manpower basta forest fires. Okay, attack. Ito naman, no, the aim of the initial attack is to stop the spread of the fire as quickly as possible. Ito yung sinabi ko sa inyo nga ipasugat ang kalayo para dili na siya mo padayon og dilaog. So if there are numerous spot fires ahead of the main blaze which may take off, they will need the first attention. Otherwise, as a general rule, the attack should begin at the point or points where the fire is spreading or will spread most rapidly under severe conditions. So we have here the natural cover fires, no? Ano-ano ba yung usually nasusunog kung may forest fire tayo? Usually involve ang mga grass, weeds, grain, bushes, forest, and other plant life. Usually yun, no? Kapag init kaayo, uga kaayo ang yuta, no? Uga pud kayo ang mga dahon, masunog jud na sila. And then forest fires are the most dangerous of all natural cover fires from the standpoint of a national problem. Kasi nga, pinaka-dangerous siya kasi nga, if wala tay saktong pag-respond ani, there will be a loss of monetary loss. Kasi nga, yung mga kahoy natin, masunog naman. So, di na tayo makagamit sa mga kahoy. As well as mga natural habitat lives doon sa forest, no? Basig mga sunog ang mga rabbit, ang mga snake, ang mga mga deers or mga natural nga mga hayop nga nagpuyo dito ang forest, no? And as well as no, usually gyud we are very thankful no nga wala ta nabutang sa mga areas nga grabe ang climate nila if ever kanang ting-init, no? Kasi nga usually if ang season lang man nato, we have two seasons, the rainy and the sunny season. No, to other countries dagan silang season. Na rain, na snow, na hail, na summer, no? And usually kapag summer sa kanila, grabe jud na kainit, no? Kung grabe ang katugnaw nila, grabe po na ang kainit. So, kung init ka sa ilaha, usually gyud na ay mga forest fires, no? Usually naga-occur sa mga laing nasod, no? So, kung makita mo sa Facebook, daghan kayo og mga videos dito nga nagapakita, no? Kung katong isa na akong nakita sa video, no? Kay nanguha sila og tubig sa swimming pool sa katong balay sa usa ka tawo kay wala sila water supply, no? And usually man gyud ang mga foreigner nagatukod na sila og balay sa mga forest for recreational purposes, and then naging mga swimming pool kay dato man, no? So dito sila lang og water supply nila kay di ba sabi nga sa inyo limited atong water supply if there are forest fires kasi nga layo kita sa kabihasnan, and we must have the right equipments, no, to suppress the fires. So we have here the types of natural cover fires, no, or the forest fires. We have the ground fires or the undergrowth or the duck fires. Usually, it will travel ground level or below the surface, no. Usually, katong mga dry nga dahon, humus, peat, and other organic materials that have become part of the soil. And we also have here the surface fires. Usually na siya, it will burn over the grass, weeds, grain, the bushes, and the shrubs. And this type of fire travels rapidly if the wind is high and when the fuel is abundant. The heat is intense but short-lived because of the quick burning characteristic of the fuel. So, maunang paspas mo, dilaw ang mga kalayo kung sa forest, it's because gagmay lang ang fuel, mga dahon-dahon lang ang fuel, and then, dali na po na siya musunog og another fuel. Dali siya mapalong, dali po siya musiga. So, maunang paspas, no? And quick burning siya. Okay? So, ang surface fires, usually katong mga grass. Kani naman, crown fires, ibig sabihin crown, top of the trees, kani mga dahon-dahon sa kahoy, no? And usually, it is generated by a flash fuels at the surface is intense. The fire advantage is upward to the dried lower limb of the trees and continues to burn the tree top. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, if crown fires, usually ang nag-burn ay kani mga top sa trees. Okay? Mga kahoy-kahoy. Okay? So, usually pod, no, if ever masunog ni mga kahoy-kahoy, no, pwede ni siya mo takod to another kahoy. But again, crown, head na siya ginabutang. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, we also have here the spot fires. Ano naman itong spot fires? They're started in advance of the heads by windblown sparks or bits of burning material. No? Ibig sabihin ng spot fires, ning takod or ning ambak nga kalayo. Kung makita niyo ako ang kamot sa ako ang screen, no? Kaning kahoy diri if ang dahon ani mulupad sa pikas kahoy na naisunog. So, mutakod siya, and then that's what we call as a spot fire. So they are capable of creating a very dangerous situation. A number of spot fires may emerge and create a new head in advance of the main fire, no? So imbis na hapit na mapalong ninyo ang sunog kay gikuanan niyo gitagaan niyo siya attack, and then gikuanan ninyo siya no gitagaan niyo siya barriers ditoa ning tabok or ning ambak ang katong dahon nga naisunog, and then basig masunog na po di siya diri nga part imbis nga diri ara dapit. Like for example, na stream diri or na ay ilog, no, nga di na makatabok ang kalayo, ning tabok siya kay nilupad siya. Okay? So, fire investigation naman. Sige. So, this one, the main feature of investigation is to by having to investigate, no, and we should know the fire prevention program. So, ibig sabihin, ang investigation natin, ginagawa siya so that if ever na ay mga sunog na po on the near future, kabalo na taon sa ato ang buhaton kasi nga nanatay fire prevention program. Okay? Only an in-depth analysis of what sequences of events enabled a fire to start, enabled it to spread, and how and where it was controlled. Example, firefighting, structural design, lack of fuel can help prevent future fires. So, if ever, ang katong nga building nga nasunog is made of wood lang gid tanan and hindi siya fire resistant. So, anong mga pwede natin gawin? Okay, mag-install taog ka ng fire detectors and all. So that if ever na mapatukod na pudog another building, kabalo taon sa ato ang fire prevention measurements so that dili dayon masunog ang mga buildings and maka-help ta prevent sa fire. So additionally, fire investigation includes the observations of everyone involved. And at the fire themselves, there are many firefighters who will be able to shed light on the nature of fire, its progress, and so forth. So, during the fire investigation, no, kinakailangan mag-interview po to sa mga firefighters kung sa ilahang nakitaan nga um, sila man gid mag-respond. So, interview sila. Sige, si Kenneth, firefighter Kenneth, kumusta man? Unsa man imong na-experience sa katong sunog nga inyong giapula? Ay, kuan sir, akong nabantayan sir kay mas dali siya nasunog kay naghang mga electrical nga nag spark and then ang building sir kay wala kayo siya bintana, wala kayo door. So katong mga gisulti sa firefighter, so i-allocate or ibutang gyap nga to siya sa atuang fire prevention program kasi nga the investigation nga atong gibuhat sa prior nga nasunog nga building magamit yun nato na siya to prevent the future fires. Okay? So, we have here the four general classes of fire, no? The fire causes. You have natural fire, usually without human intervention or natural lang yun, such as lightning or kidlat. Spontaneous ignition, mechanical malfunction, or equipment. So, we also have here the accidental fires, usually causes ang human, ang tao na gyud. So, usually ka ng mga nagtinanga nga naglabi og upo sa sigarilyo and then mo to nag-create og sunog. No, careless disposal of smoking materials. No? Also, workers using welding cutting equipment, no? Syempre, di ba, kanang mag-welding mo, naman gina mag-spark-spark kang mukuan anak mo sa tagani kanang mo gawas. So, basig, ang katong spark kay nabutang siya into combustible material, di masunog siya, no? Arson fire naman, ang cause ani kay gi-create ni siya sa willful and criminal action sa katao. Usually incendiary fires ang tawag ana ng mga fires kapag gisunog sa arsonist na to, no? Ang arson giplanuhan nga pagsunog, no? Gimo gina siyang gisunog nga naa kay motive. And unknown fire naman, these are not classified as to cause, wata kabaloon sa ang iyang reason. So we have here the three general classifications of fire. We have the innocent fire, such as natural and accidental causes. We also have the incendiary fire or the arson causes, and the unknown fire, which are the fire is unknown and it is natural and accidental causes. So we have here the persons who are responsible to examine and inspect the fire scene in the American setting. So we have the fire marshal, fire chief, assistant chief for technical service, fire inspector responsible for the specific building, senior fire officer at the fire scene, photographer, and the utilities personnel, particularly electrician. Okay, sige, who would like to read this slide? Any volunteer? Sinong gusto magbasa? Yes, Christian Agana, go ahead.
Photographer provides complete coverage, beginning with the pictures during the firefighting operation, including exterior, interior, special features, circumstances, and activities of the investigators at work. Utilities personnel provide technical assistance, particularly as to the condition of electrical circuits and appliances.
Alright, thank you very much for that, student. Now, photographer, they are very important in during fire fighting mga lugar nato no or firefighting na scene nato. It's because if ever tapos na ang sunog, kinakailangan iyahang picturean ang exterior extremities of the building, no? And 'di ba, yung sinabi ko, do not touch or alter anything unless documented or photograph and documented. So, kinakailangan i-photograph mo na yan ni photographer. No? And it will help the investigators no to determine furtherly no kasi syempre di man gina forever ng naugdaw nga lugar din ha or naugdaw nga building tungod sa sunog. Kinakailangan, picturean muna natin samtang fresh pa. So, utilities personnel naman, hindi sabihin mga kanang mga manilhig or maglimpyo. Utility personnel, these are electricians. No, gina-check nila ang electrical circuits or appliances if nabay giputol dito and then technically ang ilang gina-provide is technical assistance, okay? So electrical circuits. So thank you, congratulations and enjoy the journey. This is the end of grade 324 Fire Technology and Arson Investigation, and this is Miss Malaya teaching. End of week 6 to 7 part 4. So that was the end of my discussion, everybody. Do you have any questions, clarifications, queries before we take our end of discussion for this evening? Meron ba?
Ma'am, mag-suggest lang ako katong movie good ma'am about sa firefighting ma'am.
Mm-mm.
Only the
Yes.
Brave ang title. To like story ito siya ma'am.
Again?
Only the Brave.
Okay. Sige, Only the Brave ang title. So, nakakita po na ka to student?
Yes ma'am, kaso lang nangamatay ba itong mga bida ato ma'am.
Yes, very good, no? So, Only the Brave. So, you search that sa YouTube kung naay sa Lida or sa internet, no? I-browse ninyo, then try to watch. Kay very nice jud ang movie, no? So, daghan mo matun-an dito nga kanang mga techniques, no? So, it was a very nice movie but sad, no? In the end. But, naaboy makuha gid nga mga lessons, no? Kato ato mga attack nga atong gipang mention, no? So, dito makita ninyo to siya, no? Gi-apply jud nila. So, very good, no? Thank you for that, Christian. Sige. So, any questions po before we end? Wala na? Okay, sige. So, for this week, our biggest occasion for this week is, our major event for this week is having your third examination. So, ang third examination nyo will be this Friday, that's March 4, 2022. So, same instructions pa rin, no? And then, just wait for this week. I will give your final requirement para you will be able to be free from stress, no, kapag nahuman na ninyo yung final requirements. So again, your final requirements will be given by group kayo, so that kayong lahat ay naay deliberation of duties, no? So dili lang isa ang magunit sa kahago, no? So kamong tanan. So for this class, you are only, I guess, 13 mangguro, no? Now, let me check. Parang ano lang kayo, 16, 13. Parang ano lang kaya kayo dito, 16 sa aking class record. So, if ever, I will just divide you into 2 groups, no? Para magkasinabot mo, 8-8 lang. Para mas dali ninyo ma-incorporate ninyo mga kagrupo. So, you just wait for my instruction for next week. For this week pala, para sa inyong final requirements. So, if you do not have any questions, try to open your cameras kasi we only have a minute left before 6:25 p.m. Sige, mag-photo documentation na ta, class. I-show inyong mga gwapo, mga gwapa nga mga hulagway sa camera. Sige. For a while, ha? Sige. Alright, everybody. If you do not have any questions, show us your widest smiles on 3, 2, 1, smile! Alright, everybody, thank you for attending this evening's class. I hope you've learned something from me. I will see you again on Wednesday. Goodbye, Bapush Paalam, and enjoy the rest of the evening. You can now leave po. Goodbye!
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you
ma'am.
very much. Bye-bye, everybody.